to join us.
I mean, you have to sit through that 2.5-minute open. I mean, for the love of God.
Well, he's a funny guy. He appreciates
I'm
funny
sure he
production.
does.
Yes, he does.
He's also busy, I'm sure.
I know he's busy, but
Not
he's
at-
on with
not at
Sedano
9
Kap.
o'clock in the morning.
Well,
Fluffy, are you busy at 9 o'clock in the morning? I feel like you are busy at 9 o'clock in the morning.
I'm usually sleeping.
Yeah.
There you go.
See?
Okay. But that's busy?
All right.
Busy sleeping?
Till what time do you usually sleep till every day, Fluff?
So as a comic, I stay awake really late. I got insomnia, so I normally knock out right around 7 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Come on, for real, for real?
Yeah.
So, yeah, the man's working on
so
2 hours of sleep.
I crawl out of bed right around, I don't know, 11, 12.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so 7 a.m. you go to sleep, 12 o'clock you wake up. You sleep it all during the day?
No.
No
There you go.
naps.
Like 5 hours.
No naps. I got things to do. No naps.
Exactly. He's busy.
Yeah.
Hey,
I got things
by
to
the
do.
way, impressive opener. I only half as long as my intros.
I was going to say, when you come on stage at SoFi, you got to have a big fat intro, bro. Come on, man.
Oh yeah.
so Fluffy is doing a show at SoFi. It's going to be, they expect to have 70,000 there. It's March 21st. Here coming up pretty soon.
Yeah,
Obviously,
this
it sold out Dodger Stadium, right?
Mhm.
Previous to that, back in 2022. So this is going to be awesome. First of all, like, how, like, when you sell out a stadium, we were just talking about this, right? A lot of comics, they do arenas. You've done arenas. I mean, that's impressive in itself, right? 18, 20,000, whatever. No, when you've done 50, now 70 potentially 1,000 people, like, how does that change maybe the way you do things? How does that change from a production standpoint? Like, how does that change anything you do when you're playing a venue that big?
I just think that it's more of a production thing than anything else. It doesn't really there's not really an effect on the performance. The performance is the performance. It's the way that it gets put out there. So, like, for example, with SoFi, we need to make sure that the sound is legit and that the screens, it's all about visual.
Yeah.
With comics. You need to be able to see the faces, what we're doing. So the Halo, which is something that's available inside of SoFi Stadium, it's almost like the one that's at the Texas Stadium where the Cowboys play.
Yeah.
It's a massive screen inside, so we want to make sure we utilize all of the tools. Some people, I won't name names, Beyonce doesn't want to spend money to use the Halo so that everybody can see clearly, but this is one of those we got to spend the money. So production-wise, it's definitely next level, and it is expensive, but we got to give the people a good show. Now, when we're in an arena, we have giant screens, but it's like, not to sound like a douche, it's only like 15,000 people, so it's not as hard to
see
to put it out there for everybody.
Yeah, but wait,
we've been doing this for so long. Joe and I've been doing these shows for so many years now. Unfortunately, we're a little jaded.
Yeah, but let me just ask you, the question, though, about, like, does it change for you? Are you saying that if you walked into the Comedy Store and you played in front of 150 people on a Saturday night versus playing at SoFi Stadium in front of 70,000 people on a Saturday night, you're saying that you yourself as the performer don't notice the difference or feel the difference or even perform differently?
I'm not saying I don't notice a difference. Of course you notice a difference.
Yeah,
I'm saying the material.
Okay.
So whatever it is that I'm doing on stage that gets the reaction is the same.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's the jokes.
Right.
That's basically what I'm saying. It's like the jokes don't change because there's 4 times the people.
Right.
It's the same material, but you do perform differently. At the Comedy Store, if there's only a few people, the intensity of which the way you deliver the material is going to be different than when you have, a stadium full of people watching you. So it is going to be a little bit different, more intensity for more people.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question, because I'd love to get, like, the origin story of this, because look, you're Mexican, I'm Cuban, we're both Hispanic kids. Like, I remember telling my parents, when I wanted to be a broadcaster, I'm like, mami, papi, yo quiero ser un locutor en la radio, en la televisión, y narrar. And they looked at me like I had 3 heads, right? And, like, they gave me the Cuban guilt is a little different, because they're like, we fled communism to come to this country, and you want to be this? No, you need to be a doctor. You need to be a lawyer. When you wanted to be a comedian, like, how did your family react to that?
My mom was, she goes, whatever makes you happy, but I don't get it. It was more so one of those, like, if that's what you want to do with your life, mijo, but I don't get it. My mom was my biggest supporter, but she was not my fan. She definitely was not my fan. My mom was so anti what I did as far as, like, she didn't like it. She didn't like the comedy. She supported me, but didn't like what I did.
Right.
She would tell me flat out, mijo, I don't know why they pay.
Was she saying that you weren't funny, or was she just saying she doesn't get the career?
She didn't think I was funny at all. At all. My mom was not, at all. Like, seriously.
That's great.
Yeah, no. She didn't know I was funny until she saw the checks. Like, she didn't. It wasn't a thing for her.
Yeah.
But I didn't need my mom to be a fan. I needed her to be my mom, so she kept it very real.
Yeah. But go back. We're interested in. I always find these comedians to be fascinating how they got to where they are. If you go back into the late 90s, I know I saw a podcast that you were on where you're telling the story of how you're like a phone sales guy and you're making pretty decent money back then, and you seem to be somewhat happy with your life. And then you kind of give it all up to try your hand at comedy. Could you kind of go back to that, what year that was and what was going on in your life?
Oh, for sure. That was 1997. I was working for a company called LA Cellular.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the time when cell phones first came out. So, I wasn't selling an iPhone. I was selling a Motorola PC 550 flip phone, which is, like just they call them the brick phones back then.
Mm-hmm.
And the phone, you charge it one time and it would last you seriously like 3-4 days. You could talk on it that long. It was insane.
Right. Couldn't do anything else with it.
On the phone, it was like wearing a microwave for a helmet. Like you could feel your head. You could feel the tumor growing. You know what I'm saying, bro? It was insane.
Yeah.
But the commission I got off of selling cell phones was really well. It was really good. You know what I mean? So I was making a really, really good living. And it's crazy because you got to be willing to be uncomfortable in order to really chase a passion, chase a goal. Because, man, I had no reason to leave that job to chase comedy. I was making more money than I've ever made in my life. I was very comfortable. Bills were paid. I'm rocking a Wilson's House of Suede leather jacket.
Nice.
I was rocking some J's, you know what I mean? I was living the good life for me. I'd never had money before.
Mm-hmm.
So to give that up to chase the dream of being a comic and starting over, that was probably the biggest gamble for me.
Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias with us here, SoFi Stadium this coming weekend, March 21st. Going to perform in front of 70,000 people. We're super excited for this, obviously. Let me ask you this. So you get into comedy, right? Like, how are your first couple of, like, acts and sets? Like, and who did you, like, try to influence you? Like, who did you watch that you said, I want to be a little like him with my own twist? Like, who are some of these people?
My influences were like Robin Williams, Eddie Murphy, Billy Crystal. These are the comics that I was watching as a kid. There wasn't a Netflix back then.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You were lucky if you saw HBO and there was like maybe a special once a year. That's, by the way, why they called them specials.
Right.
Because there was only 1 or 2 per year, not one every week. So it was very slim pickings on who you would get to watch back in the day. And as a young kid, I couldn't go to a comedy club. I wasn't old enough.
Mm-hmm.
You had to be 21 because they served alcohol. So I could only watch what I could see on TV. And, every now and then I'd come across a cassette tape. Like my favorite cassette tape was of Eddie Murphy, and I would play that cassette tape all the time.
Which one was it? Do you remember? Was it Delirious
it was literally just called Eddie Murphy.
Okay.
That's what it said on the cassette.
Okay, because that Eddie Murphy cassette, my mom, let me tell you what happened. My mom took that from me one day because I said something vile in the house, and she blamed it on Eddie Murphy. She took the cassette tape out of the cassette player, Fluffy. She put it on the ground, and she stomped on it, and she ruined it because there was a really great song that Eddie Murphy did at the end of that tape. It was like he used all of his characters, like
Boogie
Buckwheat.
in Your Butt.
Right. One more time. Say, Boogie in Your Butt?
Boogie in Your Butt.
Boogie in Your Butt was the name of the song. My mother took the cassette tape, put it on the ground, stomped on it, and said, "No more Eddie Murphy in our house," because I was using dirty language. But that's how. But I had it memorized, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, same thing. And then Billy
Oh,
Crystal,
yeah.
what was your favorite Billy Crystal stuff back then? Because Billy Crystal was for me also Eddie Murphy, Billy Crystal. These are my guys. What was the Billy Crystal stuff?
Billy Crystal had this one special that he did from Russia.
Oh, yes.
It was a special that he did from Russia, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And then with Robin Williams, everything Robin Williams did, I'm like, I was just all over it. Like, for me, that's why I started wearing Hawaiian shirts, because of Robin Williams.
Wow, man.
And what do you remember about those first couple of, like, gigs at, like, comedy clubs or whatnot, wherever you were?
Yeah, where were the clubs? Where'd you go?
I didn't get to do comedy clubs when I first started. That was not an option. I was performing at bars because that's the only place I could get stage time. When I first started, you had to have an in at the clubs. You couldn't just walk into a comedy club and go up on stage. That was not available. You had to have somebody. That's why I always tell the youth, I'm like, back in the day, you had to have somebody vouch for you.
Right.
Someone's word meant everything. Like, hey, someone put their word on the line for you. Like, hey, you got to check out this guy. He's good. My word, he's a good, so somebody had to stick their neck out for you back then, and nobody was willing to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go to bars or anywhere where just, a karaoke. I've did so many karaoke bars. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's rough, humble beginnings.
In, like, Long Beach or, like, because you grew up in that area, no?
Definitely Long Beach.
Yeah.
Long Beach, I was at the Golden Sales Hotel. I'd perform at the this place that changed names every 2 years because they had issues with taxes in Montebello, right across the street from the Beverly Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I think right now it's a seafood restaurant, but back then it was a Mexican restaurant.
Gotcha.
And real quick, just to follow up on that. So, when was, like, the first time you performed at a club? Like, where was it? What do you remember about that then?
The first comedy club I performed at was in El Paso, Texas, called the Comic Strip. And so I always tell people, the first time I touched the club, I had to leave the state. I had to go to Texas to finally get an opportunity to touch a real comedy club stage. And let me tell you, after performing at dive bars and messed up, like, just, you don't know you're doing a bad gig when you're first starting off.
Right.
So when people are talking, being loud, you hear, people ordering drinks, people are, talking to, trying to hook up, you're trying to perform through all the stuff that's happening in the room. Once you actually perform in front of an audience that's sitting, focused, looking straight at you, ready to laugh, it was a cakewalk. I walked into that club and I buried the other two comics because I was so used to having to fight for laughter. And I'm like, what? You're actually paying attention?
Well, just go back then, phone sales, 1997, living comfortably, making a living, to I'm going to give this up and try my hand at comedy, and then El Paso, Texas. What's the break? Like, at what point do you know, okay, I'm actually doing this, I don't have to go back to selling phones?
By the way, what was funny is that when I was in El Paso doing these shows, the other two comics who were getting paid much more than me, because I was just the opener MC, they would watch me sit there on the couch and talk on my cell phone. And they're like, how is it you're an opener MC and you have money to talk on a cell phone? And then I would tell them, hey, by the way, I sell cell phones for a living. And as a salesperson, you would get unlimited minutes back then.
Nice.
It wasn't like the free nights and free weekends. No. And that was another reason to keep that gig, was for that cell phone, because it was unlimited. I would have contests with another friend of mine who was also a sales rep at the time, and we'd see who can rack up the most amount of minutes in a month. And, the bill, which wasn't a bill, it was just to let you know what calls you made, would come in a thick envelope. And one day I got a little box, and I'm like, I win. I got the box. Like, it was so many pages. It was a box.
Nice. So at what point, though, do you break?
When did I know?
Yeah.
When did I know? I knew very early on, because the thing is with comedy, you got to stay out late and network. So when you're hanging out in the city, you meet another comic. That's how you would network. There was no social media back then. You'd have to hang out at a Denny's till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning talking to comics. Hey, where else is there a gig? Who else can I talk to? You'd have to write down a phone number. You'd have to save a name. So-and-so told me to call. It was very different back then. And so staying out late and then trying to go to work in the morning, I was burning the candle at both ends. And eventually it got to a point where I was falling asleep at work, and I got caught at work falling asleep a couple of times. And I said, you know what, let me go for it. And I quit, and I felt it immediately. I felt it. Like the repo man was looking for my car.
Yes.
I got evicted from my apartment. I had to go sleep on my brother's couch. And everybody kept saying, you have an awesome job. You left on good terms. Just go back to your job. But I'm like, I can't go back to work. I've already cut it to pursue this other thing. And everybody told me I was stupid. Everybody told me I was making a big mistake. But if you know you're chasing a dream and a passion, you know no matter what, you made the right choice.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
mean,
so back then, that's when I knew. That's the hardest part, giving up the comfort.
right. Well, that's it. And that's why, truth be told, we're going to get off on a tangent here. But the main reason why people don't pursue their dreams or their passion is because they've got a job. They've become a slave to the job, meaning I can't give up the money.
Yeah.
And so the thought of I'm going to leave my job and leave my comfort and go pursue what I really want to pursue. But the fear is, and it's all fear driven, I think you'll agree, the fear is I'll never, or what happens if I don't succeed? And then what have I done to my life and my career and my bank account and so on? And so how did you battle through that fear?
You know, the cool part was that I wasn't focused on the money. I was having so much fun being a comic, hanging out, getting up on stage, the rush of performing in front of people, the excitement. Unless I was doing drugs, I wasn't going to get that same level of high
rush,
and just
right.
adrenaline.
Yeah.
It was such an incredible feeling. I'm like, I just knew I was doing what I was supposed to do, and it wasn't about the money. And that's what I keep telling these young guys, hey, don't worry about the money, because everybody's asking about, well, how do I get paid? How do I get compensated? How do I do this? How do I do that? No, work on your craft. You will eventually get funny enough where the money will find you. I didn't look for a manager or an agent. They found me. So once you get good at what you're doing, everything else will fall into place.
What was the most uncomfortable moment you've had on stage? Like where maybe in the early stages where you're working through material and it doesn't work, it bombs or whatever. Like what do you remember about like one of those moments where you're like, oh man, like where you may be questioning your life decision at that point?
I had a couple of gigs where I was just like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't have taken, because any gig that I had where I felt uncomfortable or like I questioned like, this didn't work out right, for some reason I was making a lot of money on those particular shows. It was always a show where the money was right, but the circumstances were wrong. Most uncomfortable show, and I just took the money because they said it was a corporate gig, but I didn't ask enough questions. I did a benefit, and it was to raise money for domestic violence awareness. And I didn't know that. I didn't know what the gig was. I just knew that I was going to get paid well. And so there's a guest speaker that goes on before me. I was the comedic relief at the end. So there was a guest speaker that went on before me, and it was a woman who had survived domestic violence. And she shared a horrible story that lasted about half an hour. And basically she's talking about the abuse she went through for all the years she was married, and then she had a slideshow. And so I had to follow that.
Yikes.
I had to follow. Yeah, exactly. Got paid well, but man, yeah.
Oh man,
that was really hard to follow.
All right, let's do the flip side. When did you feel like, man, I've made it?
I never wanted to say it. I fought hard, and I think I had so many times where things were going so well, I'm like, yeah, but I feel like if you say it,
right,
you're going to stop working hard. You're going to stop driving. The hunger's going to go away.
Yeah, right.
But realistically, when I sold out Madison Square Garden, and I told the story, I said, I've never wanted to say I made it, but I said it's a little hard to be humble, you know, when you're at the most iconic venue in the world and you sold it out. I said, so the next time someone asks me, when did you know you made it? I said, I'm going to have a date.
Yep.
And then when I said the date in the building, the whole building went crazy.
Yeah.
And I remember crying, and I'm like, oh, my God. it was very emotional.
Well,
it was very emotional.
But think about it. But for a kid who grew up, who was born in San Diego, lived all around the Inland Empire, L.A., I mean, for a kid like you to sell out Dodger Stadium and now this upcoming weekend have SoFi Stadium, and like you said, the money will find you, to have to be on the Walk of Fame, to have your own tequila company now, which, by the way, I'd love for you to tell us about that. I mean, this is truly an amazing story of having the courage and the guts and really, frankly, the balls to say, you know what, I'm giving up the cushy sales job where I'm making money and I'm paying my bills. because I'm pursuing something bigger, and look what it's turned into. So with all that, tell us about, Pocho Fino.
Having a tequila brand, I think it was only a matter of time because I actually do drink tequila. I am a drinker of tequila. I consume a lot of tequila. So people have been always saying, why don't you have your own brand? And I'm like, nah, I'm good. I like what I like. I drink what I like. I'm not, I don't need it. I'm good. I work. I'm fine. I've been approached multiple times with tequilas, and I just, I didn't feel it. The difference between then and now is that I was involved from the get. So, I came up with the name. I drew the artwork that's on the label on a napkin and handed it to the people that were going to do it. I did the actual taste testing. I tried so much tequila. Some of it I don't remember because it was that fun. By the way, tequila tasting, oh, my God, you got to do it. Because you're taking little sips, sip, 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 and before you know it, you're like, this is really good. This is really, and you're like, oh, my God, yeah. So I was involved with the whole process of it. And so we're partners in the thing, and that's what made it different. So I support it 100% because I've been involved with it from the beginning, and I was involved in every step.
Well, congratulations, man. Your success, both as a comic and now as an entrepreneur, is absolutely amazing. And I hope people listen this morning and go, wow, you know what? Maybe I should do that.
Now let me tell you so. We you remember Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, where they would do like a phone a friend? Well, we phoned a friend here. So the great Beto Duran.
Our common friend.
Yes, common friend between you and us. We love Beto around here. He is on the line. He has a question for you. So we're phoning a friend, Beto Duran. Beto.
All right, Gabe. So most importantly, I've been to your compound. You have all the jerseys of all the stadiums you perform, which is awesome. But one thing I want to get to, and then you never take enough credit for this, is you've taught me this, is always send the elevator back down. You bring your friends with you. You bring Martin, you bring Alfred Robles, and this weekend is really important for you to headline and show off everybody that's helped you along this journey. And a lot of people forget where they come from. How do you stay grounded to make sure that your friends are on the ride?
Well, by keeping the same people around me that I've had around me for my whole career. So, Martin and Alfred, they've been with me from day one. Alfred has found success on his own and has started doing his own thing, and he's killing it. But we still hang out. We still do shows together. We're still involved in each other's lives. I think keeping these relationships, a lot of people think you need like 20 people to make that possible. You really only need 2 or 3 people to just constantly keep you grounded and remind you of hey, man, here's where we're at, but this can go away. So I have that mindset that this can go away. One bad tweet is all it takes, and adios.
Right.
You work so hard for all of this. So I'm always being mindful, always being careful, because you don't want to rock the boat. Especially now, people are so sensitive. But you never want to forget, and you never want to treat people. Because I remember what it was like to be talked down to. I remember what it was like to be made to feel like a small, tiny person. And not being given any respect. So I always want to treat people the way I want to be treated.
Amen.
And so that's why keeping these people around me that have been, solid over the years, I'm like, man, I'm very grateful to still have these friends and have these connections.
Hey, Fluffy, also, and Beto, stay where you are. Fluffy, also talk to us about this other part of your life, which I think is interesting. Again, I think a lot of people will find inspiration from this. You're a big dude, and at one point you had a health scare. And apparently that health scare motivated you to lose, I don't know if it's 150 pounds, maybe it's more. Just tell us a little bit about what happened at that phase of your life.
What's funny is that every time I go see my doctor, it's a health scare. I think back then I didn't have insurance, so I didn't know what it was like to actually talk to a real doctor. I used to go talk to a sobador. I used to talk to, uncles that had no medical degree and be like, you know what I think that is? My uncles were like the original what's that, WebMD?
Yeah.
Right. You tell them what you think you got going on, and they're like, yeah, I went through that. I think it's this. And every time it ended in cancer. So, yeah, I thought I was going to die very early on in life. And so, I did. I'm still a big guy, but I was pushing. I was about 440, and I was very, very heavy, very uncomfortable, and I wound up losing 100+ pounds. So I'm still a big guy, but I'm much smaller than I was. So I'm very functional, but I'm pushing 50 now. I'll be 50 in a couple months, and so now I have to revisit that. But I got on a yoga program. I stopped drinking regular soda. I cut back on the carbs, and I started hitting the gym. So
did you really? Is it true that is it true that you did the Diamond Dallas Page yoga? Is that true?
The DDP yoga.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan.
Intense.
Yeah, I love that guy. He's a
so
great
intense.
dude. Yeah, great guy.
He's the modern day Richard Simmons.
Does he wear leg warmers too, like Richard?
He's got dolphin shorts.
He wasn't like Richard Simmons. Very intense.
That's great.
Well, Fluffy, this weekend, SoFi Stadium. Beto, you got anything else? I know you got plenty of time, and the floor's yours here too. If you need anything here.
Well, the thing about the Hollywood, the star of the Walk of Fame last week was awesome. Not because Gabe was there, but everybody that came around him. You have the Tapatio family there. You had everybody that's who's who in L.A. You had the Buki singers in North. Everybody's there for him, man, celebrating. And the thing about Gabe, he's so humble, and I'm not kissing up here, but he really is, where he makes sure that you're okay at his events. Like, if you've ever been able to go to a Fluffy party as a compound, oh, my God, just go. Because it is the best. And the thing is, Gabe has the biggest heart, man. That's the thing that people don't really understand about him, because he doesn't talk about this, but everybody's taken care of. That's why the Hollywood Walk of Fame last week, that was awesome, man. And congratulations on that.
Thank you. I was excited to have a mariachi there, man, because normally those events are freaking so boring.
They're sterile.
Quiet. And I'm like, nah, man. They're like, we don't know if you could have a mariachi. I go, we're outside. It's legal.
Man,
and by the way, Beto, I'm having a party this Sunday. So, hey, man, I'm giving you the public invite, and gentlemen, you are both invited, so that you can come with Beto and see what the parties are all about.
Right.
And this is to
Sounds
celebrate SoFi. So
I know, Beto,
No, you're busy, Scott.
No, Beto, Sunday could be.
Well, and Fluffy, here's the thing. Cappy likes to scrape in people's bathrooms. You know what I mean? He likes to test them out.
He got a big house.
Right.
Got a
I'm just saying.
compound.
Yeah, but
I'll be like, hey, Fluff, where could I go to get a little privacy where I can take my clothes off? You know what I mean?
We do have, you know what I do when my parties, because I don't want to mess up my plumbing. So I hire a company that brings out luxury toilets.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Look at that.
These giant trailers, and they have like they have like mini chandeliers in every single one. They each have AC, and it's like there's an attendant.
Oh, wow.
Like, that stands outside. So believe me, I have the best food and the best accommodations once you're done eating. So the restroom game is strong.
Okay. Well, you got to have it. I mean, if you're going to feed people right, you got to have the strong restroom. Hey, Fluff, you ever see?
It's fantastic. Oh, by the way, Scott, just let him know. Fluff, Scott is the guy that if you give him one invite, he's going to ask for 8. So,
I bring an entourage. I bring no
entourage.
No, necesitan 8, por favor. Sí.
Oh, yeah, nice. you're Latino by invite,
right?
All right, Fluffy. This weekend, SoFi Stadium, brother. Congratulations! Thank you for taking the time to join us. We appreciate it. And Beto, thank you too, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Beto, feel free to pass on my info, gentlemen. You guys get a +1. Don't be ghetto.
All right, bro.
Brother. Thank you, man. All right. Thank you. All right. And thank you, Beto. That was great. I said to Beto, I go, I really would love to have Fluffy on the show at some point, because I know you guys are cool.
Yeah.
And he said, well, let's wait until he's going to perform at SoFi Stadium.
Yeah.
So this worked out perfectly that we were able to have Fluffy on. And I don't know about you guys. I'm just going to take a second. I love stories like this.
Yeah.
Like
it's Viridia Rinaldi.
Well, it is, but it's just think about this. Like, there's a guy driving around right now, okay? And he's thinking to himself, what I really want to do in life is this.
Yeah.
But I'm stuck doing this because this is where my paycheck comes from every week. But I really want to be doing something completely different. But I don't have the money in the bank. I don't have the courage. I got a family. I got a wife. I got kids. I can't just stop what I'm doing now to go pursue what I really want to be doing. That was the situation that Fluffy found himself in. And maybe the circumstances were different. Maybe he didn't have a wife. Maybe he didn't have a couple of kids. Maybe he didn't have a mortgage payment to make. But that's the thing. It holds so much of us back in our lives. that you get married to the job and you can't leave the job when what you really want to pursue is something else. So for me, I hear when guys like that say that, it doesn't mean that everybody's going to quit their job and go become a successful comedian or a rock star. But, maybe you take a little inspiration from that and you go, maybe I should start thinking more about what I really want to be doing.
What do you really want to do, Cappy?
Yeah, what do you
I feel like
wanna
you're
do?
hinting at
No,
something.
no, I'm not. It's not like that